All right. So today we're going to talk about the introduction to Microsoft Copilot. First, I want to introduce myself. I'm Logan Storm. I'm a consultant at Withum Digital, and today I'm going to be paired with Joe Hickey.
Hi, how are you?
Let's go ahead and get started. I'm pretty excited about this one. So first, we kind of just want to give a general description of generative AI. So basically, generative AI is a form of artificial intelligence that focuses on the creation of original, realistic, or coherent content. So what is it actually doing? So it's basically we're trying to recreate the human brain, and all of the deep learning models and algorithms are just basically trying to simulate the learning and decision making process that the human brain currently does. And it's pretty complex, but it's pretty exciting to see once it's actually spitting out that generative content. And the way it does this, it's identifying and encoding patterns and relationships within the data, and then enabling them to understand natural language requests and generate original content, such as the things you've seen like text, audio, video, software code, etc. So, what are some examples of Gen AI? So today we're talking about Microsoft Copilot, and also you of course know ChatGPT. That was the first. That's what everything's been based off of. But then there's some others that you may have heard of. So Google Gemini, Scribe, Dolly 2, and there's new ones every day. So it's pretty exciting that there's going to be new creations every day. It could continue to change, but we want to kind of show Copilot. It's what we use day to day. I know me and Joe have used it quite a bit, so we've grown to love it, I guess. So what's the difference between ChatGPT and Copilot for Microsoft 365? So ChatGPT is what you're used to. It's a general purpose large language model that works like a chatbot, right? So it's using the machine learning algorithms to answer your questions or prompts, basically mimicking human conversation. But there's some limits to ChatGPT. So it its knowledge base is based off of everything prior to September 2021. So that means it can't really hallucinate like current models can, and try to produce information that they're getting, or it can, sorry. And then ChatGPT use cases include text compositions, lists, coding, and content summaries. So then what's Copilot for Microsoft 365? It's basically a assistant, right? So it combines ChatGPT with the data from your Microsoft Graph and your apps. It will learn everything that you are basing off your data, your everything within your Microsoft Graph that it needs to use. So your calendars, emails, chats, documents, whatever it may be, right? But the best part about it is it's not going to be sending out your data back to Microsoft to train on it with these large language models. It's actually um, more secure than most models are, because most models will be using that data to try to train itself to continue to get better. And there's been many instances of data breaches where someone used confidential code and put it into ChatGPT, and then ChatGPT got hacked and that data got leaked out. So there's been instances where that's happened, and Microsoft tells us that they are not training on it, so your data is going to be kept close to your chest at your company. And another thing that's really nice with Copilot is it works directly with Microsoft 365 apps. So it can do things like create content in PowerPoint, suggest email replies in Outlook, and recap a Teams meeting. You'll be seeing plenty of that later in a demo with Joe, but that's kind of just a tease for now. So let's talk about the AI technology and impact. So AI technology is here, right? It is excessively being used very, very quickly. So mobile phones, it took about 16 years for 100 million users to start using it, right? But ChatGPT, it took 3 months. Kind of shows you just how quickly people want to use AI because they hear the buzz behind it, want to understand it, and obviously it helps so much with anything and everything. So where are we? What is the current state of Gen AI? It's revolutionizing how we create, innovate, and automate. So we wanted to kind of show three different buckets here with content creation. So that we're used to this with the text generation, image synthesis, music composition, code generation, those kind of things. But also with multimodal interaction. So text to image, image to text, text to speech, text to code. These are still being developed, but they've come a long way. And the current state is, pretty good at it, but obviously it can always get better. And then on the productivity enhancement side, so we have the task automation, making all your mundane tasks get automated and improved on, so you don't really need an employee day to day doing these every day, these mundane tasks that can just be used on AI. And then also with processing, interpretation of unstructured data sets. It's being improved on daily, but it's really nice because data sets are very complex. So AI training on it and using it will be very beneficial in the long run. And pattern analysis and informative prediction, basically creating new predictions is something that it's really good at currently. And then we're also going to talk about the future state. So it's continuing to evolve. Researchers and developers are actively working on enhancing its capabilities. So we kind of want to touch on 3 different buckets here as well. So the adaptive learning, it's contextual understanding, responsible AI, and workforce adaptation. So on the adaptive learning and contextual understanding, so the dynamic adaptation to different programming languages, frameworks, etc. Right? It's continuing to learn. It doesn't know everything yet, but as it learns new languages, frameworks, etc. Right? It's continuing to learn. And then also with like domain-specific content generation, I know whether you're in finance or you're in oil and gas, whatever it may be, your different domains, it doesn't really fully understand your terms or anything like that. So it continues to learn on those. And then also with the enhanced collaboration capabilities. A really important one is responsible AI. Between balance, innovation, and responsibility, you need to make sure you're getting trained up as an organization when you're trying to use AI, because a lot of people just go out and use AI but not be trained on it, don't know what their data they're using is getting leaked or anything like that. So we need to be responsible. And then also making sure there's the human aspect when you're innovating with AI. So you're keeping, human mind in mind, so you don't like um, going in the wrong direction with like taking people's jobs or doing things that are wrong, right? So, and then also ensuring data privacy and accessibility. That's a big one. As I said, data has been getting leaked. So trying to make sure that stays secure is very important. And then as you can see, there's some others here. But I wanted to go into workforce adaptation. With that training comes prompt engineering. Joe will kind of show you an example of prompt engineering, but it's really important to know what to say in order to get the best output from the AI. And then also, just improving the public perception, dispelling AI myths. They're taking our jobs. They're going to take over the world. Those kind of things. As long as we're being responsible in the innovation, then obviously we can make sure that the public is more understanding and have faith in it, right? So I kind of wanted to provide some statistics. So the pace of work is outpacing our ability to keep up, and AI-powered tools represent an enormous opportunity. So we're just having to do more and more work every day. As time has gone on, we're just being responsible for more and more work, but AI will help you. 64% of people have struggled to finding time and energy to get their work done. And 3 times the amount of people by which time spent on Microsoft Teams meetings and calls has increased per week since February 2022, or 2020, sorry. And then 70% share of people who would delegate as much as possible to AI to lessen their workloads. And 2 times likelihood of a leader to say I will provide value by boosting productivity versus cutting headache out. They'd rather bring in AI, right, instead of just cutting down people, because AI will actually improve your work, be able to do more work in less time. And then we also wanted to provide a quote here with Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI. Generative AI has the potential to revolutionize nearly every industry, including healthcare, finance, and education. So how much time can people save with Copilot? So just an example on the graph on the right, saving just 2.5 hours a month yields an ROI of 180%. So implementing AI, implementing Copilot for Microsoft 365, you will get a return on your investment. And the Microsoft numbers have already begun to show that. So where are we going with conversational AI, the momentum behind it? By 2026, 30% of work activities involving the use of technology will be conversationally enabled. Reduce labor, so by 2026, conversational artificial intelligence deployments within contact centers will reduce agent labor costs by $80 billion. And then finally on transform your business, so by 2026, up to 80% of organizations' digital experiences will be delivered to consumers via virtual people, so via AI. It's everywhere, right? So impact by function, it could be in HR, sales, finance, whatever it may be, right? So under HR, you could be creating stunning training materials. Under marketing, summarize campaign results with powerful visuals, analyze sales data, in sales, right? Create a project plan for a product rollout in IT, report metrics using professional charts. It's everywhere, and as Joe will show you, it is very beneficial in all aspects of Microsoft, all across Microsoft Graph and their suites. So it doesn't matter what your line of work is, it will help. So what can Microsoft Copilot actually do? And Joe will actually demo these, so you can just high level see real quick, but it's within everything. So Teams, it helps you with your meetings. In Outlook, it can summarize your emails. Excel, analyze, visualize data. Word, it can actually summarize and question, draft and refine, help you with creating drafts in your documents. And then also with PowerPoint, it can create a initial presentation, which is very helpful because at least creating a skeleton of a deck. And then also in the niche, more niche apps, so OneNote, Whiteboard, Loop, Copilot Chat, all of these are still being used with Copilot, so it's really nice. And then also with Copilot Chat, that's just how you um, inside your work, basically within Teams, you'd be able to use Copilot Chat to do all of these features in one specific location. And then also in forms, so it can generate questions, draft and refine surveys. Power Apps and Power Automate, these kind of go hand in hand, um, but it helps you, build out your ideas. And then also in Copilot Studio, this is where me and Joe get really excited because we've gotten to do a lot of experience with this. This is how you create custom chatbots based on your needs and ideas. So this has been really cool, and I guess, and Joe will actually show you an example of this as well. But that's where the future is in Copilot. So it's where we're most excited. But now I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to Joe for a demonstration.
Thank you very much, Logan. If you could just go on to the next slide for me. Before we get into any of the demos, the first thing I really want to emphasize is the importance of prompt engineering. So prompt engineering is essentially the specific instructions, questions, or commands that you, using your own natural language, pose to the chatbot. This is taken in by the chatbot and essentially is going to be the instructions it takes when moving forward and generating a response for you. So as you can see up on the screen, I kind of have the anatomy of a prompt, and you can see that this prompt comprises of four big pieces. The first is being the goal, which is kind of the explicit outline or format that they want, Copilot to respond in. After the goal is the context, and essentially what this is why do you need it, who's involved. It's all of the extra bits and pieces of information that are either needed or extremely beneficial in helping the Copilot generate the most relevant and accurate response for you. Up next is going to be the source. So as we've alluded to, Copilot does have access to your organization's information via Microsoft Graph. So you can point it directly to, say, a Word document, a PowerPoint presentation, an Excel file, and those are just scratching the surface, really. So you can point it to any one of those documents and have that, essentially AI go out, evaluate it, and generate your insights. And then finally, the last piece of the prompt is the expectation. So you can see that in the example provided, they want to use simple language so that we can get it to speed up quickly. You can, use it to affect the tone in which the AI delivers the, output to, amongst other things as well. The more and more you begin, leveraging natural language prompting, and get more comfortable actually interacting with the chatbot, you will see a direct kind of increase in the relevancy and accuracy of the responses that you receive. The more specific and precise of a prompt that you feed into the chatbot will give you a more precise and relevant response generated. If you receive an answer that really isn't what you're looking for, sometimes all it takes is changing a few words to completely change the entire answer. So here is one of, if not the biggest piece, where you can leverage this natural language prompting in your prompt engineering, and that is Copilot Chat. So Copilot Chat is essentially, your own AI assistant that once again is integrated into your organization's data. Using your natural language, you can ask it questions, whether that be summarizing Word documents. You can even have it extend out into the web to get, web information. So you can see that was another major difference between, say, Copilot and previous iterations of ChatGPT. ChatGPT had that kind of knowledge cutoff, where Copilot has direct access into Bing and to the internet, so it can get more relevant and, recent answers. Copilot for Chat also has the option to extend its functionalities as well. So beyond being, a normal kind of question answer type of chatbot, you can also extend it either via Copilot Studio or amongst one of the other few custom plugins or even out of the box plugins that they have available. So we alluded to it being able to essentially take and perform mundane tasks. So you could essentially extend this work copilot with, say, a Power Automate automation to, essentially eliminate something that might take one of your employees a little bit of time, but doesn't take necessarily a lot of brain power. Once again, Microsoft ensures that all of your interactions are secure and compliant. So your information is your information. Microsoft does not take it and does not use it in any way, shape, or form. Another big avenue and one of the more popular ones that I've seen for using Copilot is Copilot in Teams. So Copilot in Teams can do a few different things, such as helping you schedule a meeting by evaluating different people's calendars. It can help you create an agenda for a meeting so that people have a better idea of what they're getting into prior to actually joining. And you can even have it actively take notes, and then during the meeting or even after the meeting, you can actively ask it questions, summarize anything that was previously discussed during the meeting, or even have it generate action items for you to take action on directly after the meeting is concluded. Our next example is going to be Copilot in Outlook. This one can help you draft your own emails. It can help you review any recent emails that you may have received by querying over your inbox and any threads to even quickly catch up on messages that you may not have seen. You can also use it to help you manage your Outlook inbox by having it mark messages as important or even quickly reply to messages that might not need something, incredibly, complex to respond to. Maybe it's just like a simple yes or no, or even something a little more complex than that. It can handle that as well. And then once again, it has access to the Outlook calendar, which once again allows you to kind of have an assistant help you manage schedules and find optimal meeting times for anybody that you may need to meet with. Our next example is going to be Copilot in Word. So yes, Copilot not only has access to these documents via OneDrive, but it also is embedded in the Office suite of products. So you can actually go ahead and use Copilot directly in these applications as well. So Copilot is not only improving how users query content, but it helps them completely generate new content as well. Copilot in Word can help you create entire documents either from scratch or based on previous documents that you may have. So say for example you have a proposal that you need to generate some action items for, you can feed it that proposal and then it can generate those action items based on the actual real life data. Not only can it help you create documents, but it can help you edit and proofread documents as well. So say, for example, you needed to quickly summarize maybe a lengthier document that you might not have a ton of time to read right this second. You can kind of have it generate insights and a general summary as to what's being discussed, and you can continue to ask it questions about any other important bits or pieces of information that you might need to extract from said document. Once again, back kind of in that Teams example, uh, or excuse me, the chat example, you can also use it to have you, you can leverage it to have you help find documents as well, not just create them or feed it directly into it. Since it has access to your OneDrive, it can also identify, any documents should you need assistance in actually finding one as well. Next up, we have Copilot in Excel. Very similarly, there's going to be a little Copilot kind of icon up in the top ribbon. Once selected, it'll prompt out that little fly window on the right side. This is a very common user interface used amongst all the applications to kind of give you that standard look and feel, as well as help get you more comfortable actually interacting with the tool. So while in Copilot, or while using Copilot for Excel, you can leverage, its generative AI capabilities to identify trends, patterns, or any outliers that may exist within your organization's data. You can have it create or even troubleshoot some complex Excel formulas, because I know that can be, quite strenuous when you worked so hard to create a very long and complex formula just to find out it's not working for one little minor tweak to be needed. You can also have it create entire visualizations based off of the data, as well as, once again, summarize the contents of the files itself as well. Next up is Copilot in PowerPoint. So very similarly, it can help you generate entire presentations, whether that be from scratch or using a document as a jumping off point. So kind of similarly to the example you see on screen, it was fed in a proposal and it was able to quickly whip up an entire presentation. It can also help you format your PowerPoint decks, as well as offering you with design suggestions, something that might be a little more, helpful when dealing with accessibility issues and making sure that no one's going to have any issues viewing your content. And then once again, it can help you summarize contents of any decks that you might need to quickly generate insights on in case you might not have time. Our next example is going to be Copilot in Forms. This one actually is an incredible time saver. It can help you create entire forms just using natural language. So as you can see from the example, it fed in the prompt, and as you can see, it generated an entire like 10, 15 or so question form for users to then utilize. Beyond actually helping to create the entire form, you can also just leverage it to style a form or rewrite slash edit very similarly to Word. And one other thing I'd like to bring to your attention as well, that across all of these different kind of Copilot implementations, you saw it in this example specifically, but there is a view prompts button. And what this view prompts button does is essentially allows you to kind of get a kickstart in case you don't really know how to communicate with the bot or you don't really know what you're asking for. It'll provide you some pretty useful jumping off points in case you just need that little extra push to get started. Next up, we have Copilot in Power Apps. This one is an incredible time saver as well and allows you to build these applications essentially through natural conversation. So from the jump, it can help you create entire new Canvas applications and as well as spin up the Dataverse tables necessary in order to accomplish essentially the task that you've provided it. It can help customize and edit app components. So say, for example, you've spun up an app, maybe not using Copilot, but maybe you have, and you want to make a few edits to the actual components of the application proper, you can do so using your natural language. Once again, it provides recommendations on designs in order to improve user experience. And one additional thing is you're able to actually embed Copilot within Power Apps as well. So for example, if you've generated a Power App, not only can you use Copilot to help you actually create the application, but you can place Copilot within the application itself as well. So your end users will have access to it should they need to. Very similarly to Power Apps is the Power Automate use case. So just like Power Apps, when you go to the Make.Power Automate screen, you can immediately start leveraging your natural language in order to create these new business process automations. Whenever you go ahead and generate a new business process automation, before it gets created, it will actually show you some previews and you can actually shuffle through these samples and suggestions in case they don't fit your needs specifically. Once again, these provide absolutely excellent jumping off points. I've used it several times myself. You can also go into previous flows that may have already been existing. Maybe you didn't create them, maybe one of your coworkers did, and you went in to either see what's going on or perhaps make an update. You can summarize what the flow does, and you can also edit the workflow using natural language as well. And then the final example that we are going to show off today is Copilot Studio. So Copilot Studio allows you to essentially create your own custom copilots. So whether that be a subject matter expert type of chatbot or a chatbot more designed to handle the automation of tasks, this is where you would create that. So you can go ahead and once again use your natural language to configure essentially the different properties of these Copilot Studio chatbots as well as the functionalities. Another important aspect is Copilot Studio is how you can actually extend your Copilot for M365 as well. So as I alluded to earlier, say there was a process that you wanted to automate, you can create a Copilot Studio chatbot to then be called upon by the Copilot for M365 chatbot, which will then allow you to automate and essentially kick these processes off as needed right from the chat window itself. This also allows you to integrate with additional services that maybe go beyond the traditional M365 suite of offerings and allow you to bring that into Copilot for M365 as well via that same method of extension and with both the official connectors as well as the option to leverage your own custom connectors. And then just before we wrap up here, there are just two more examples that I wanted to just quickly bring to your attention as well. We didn't have demos for them, but that's because they're very similar in functionality, look, and feel as, say, the examples you've seen with either Copilot in Forms or Copilot in Word. And those will be Copilot in Loop and OneNote. So very similarly to the content generation capabilities that you see in Microsoft Word, you're going to be able to leverage those in your note-taking applications as well. So say, for example, you wanted to quickly summarize a page of notes, or you wanted to help you quickly kind of format your notes in a better way to make more sense of everything, because as we know, you might be in a meeting, not fully paying attention, just quickly jotting down notes. Instead of having to, kind of synthesize all that information and make sense of it yourself, Copilot does an excellent job of assisting you with that as well.